Got a head full of numbers again today, T-Rex. Let's see, 54 at 6:43. Yesterday it was 71 at 7:01. You remember that, Rex? You remember that? You remember yesterday afternoon when it was 76 degrees in Boston at 1 o'clock, breaking or tying the record from 1909. I didn't think we could do it. And then by the time the sun went down, it was 61 degrees. The temperature went down 15 degrees yesterday afternoon in several hours. Gusty wind, and it was chilly. Well, not much wind now, is there? It's from the north. So we're on the cooler side of the front with a wave of low pressure coming on the front. It's NFL Sunday, and the weather is behaving a lot like two football teams. One football team in red is the warm air we've had over the last several days, which is just off the East Coast right now. And the other team is the blue team, the very cold air, 15 degrees below zero this morning in northern Ontario. That colder air is trying to push the blue team, colder air, is trying to push the red team, warmer air, out to sea. But red is putting up a battle, and that battle is low pressure over New England today, just off to the south coast, really. There's a front right over Cape Cod, and along that front we have a wave of low pressure, and those clouds are producing rain. Rain is not as much moving in today as it is just developing, as there's such a rip-roaring jet stream way up in the sky. The wind is going at hundreds of miles an hour from the southwest, even though down on the ground the air is light from the north. So that's the warmer air trying to hold on, but it's not going to win. What do we have over here? Always a distraction. You know, I have a lot of numbers in my head. I can't be distracted by fun things to look at and talk about. Yet that's what it is. This is out the door weather and more. Surf, ski weather, and we have all of that. I just checked the buoy reports, and much to my amazement, at Nantasket Beach right now, there's a 3-foot swell, 11-second period. How did that happen? Yesterday, south of Block Island, it was a 13-foot, 11-second. Oh, that was a big wave. Lots of people out there at Narragansett Town Beach yesterday, and this morning there'll probably be a good crowd at Nantasket. The wind is light now. It's going to pick up later in the day. So this low pressure system that's going by right now is sort of a shot over the bow of a new kind of weather pattern we're going to have going into Thanksgiving. There's a great follow on Twitter, Brian Brettschneider. You follow him? He calls himself a climatologist. Anyhow, he put out a tweet, I don't know, it was about 8 weeks ago, where he said, look at that, in 10 days, most of Alaska is going to be below zero. And when I saw that tweet, I said, wow, that means we could have a record cold Thanksgiving here in New England. How does that work? Well, you see, when it gets really cold in Alaska, that puts the coldest air in the hemisphere on our side of the North Pole. And then you watch for when is it going to warm up in Alaska, and then you start the clock. 10 days later, it's probably going to get very cold here in the eastern United States. And sure enough, that's all happening right on schedule. Brian put out this tweet about the temperature in Fairbanks going up to near freezing, which is really warm. Everyone's talking about this anomalous ridge in Alaska. Well, there's going to be an equally anomalous trough over central Canada into the eastern United States. Now that cold coming right from the North Pole, right into the Great Lakes states, and along the edge, that's where you're going to have your big battles. And we're going to have a good battle here coming up the middle of the week. We have a low pressure system, very weak now. There's actually two of them in Nevada and Wyoming. Those are going to get their act together and join forces over the Gulf of Mexico. So we're going to tap the Gulf of Mexico, and we're going to have a low pressure system that looks rather weak coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, but into a very cold high pressure system over southeastern Canada. And the first accumulating snow of the season is now in the forecast for the higher terrain of New England. Yesterday, the Euro backed off on its magnitude a little bit, but it's back up today. So the Euro numbers, I sent out this tweet this morning that said 1015, 999, and then 974. What was that all about? Well, that was the central pressure on this low pressure system that's coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Come on, Tim, focus. And that low is going to be deepening rapidly as it goes by. So that 1015 is on the coast Tuesday night in North Carolina, and then the 999 is right over Cape Cod. That's millibars of central pressure, and then it's 974 on Thursday night over the Canadian Maritimes. So that period Wednesday to Thursday, a drop of 25 millibars in 24 hours. You know what that means? Bombogenesis. Yep, we have a a good old bomb cyclone coming across the northeast here in the middle of the week, and on the backside of that, that's where the record cold is going to enter the picture here in the central part of the nation, but it's not really aimed at New England yet. So we're going to be on the edge, and when you're on the edge of that kind of air mass, that means there's potential for more action, especially things like upslope snows. You know, that low, by the way, ends up at 954 near Greenland in about 9 days, and at that time there's another low coming out of the Gulf of Mexico at New England. So we are going to be snow skiing for Thanksgiving here in Boston. We're going to have our first freeze. Yes, I disassembled some of these obstacles that were in our view here. Remember yesterday there was all sunflowers decaying? Well, those sunflowers are now in here. You want to see what it looks like in the middle of a sunflower after you take a machete to it? That's what it looks like right there. And I left one of the stems still on the ground so you can see that. So yeah, me and my machete went to work. And tomatoes, I salvaged a bunch of green ones. The red ones, I did collect a bunch of red ones too. And you can put them on the windowsill and get them nice. And they all split because it rained again yesterday. Oh yes, I gotta go check the rain gauge. Boy, this is getting long, isn't it? There's so much going on. It's not gonna snow in Boston, I don't think, this week, but we are gonna have a freeze probably on Tuesday. So I ended up with about 7 tenths, 8 tenths yesterday, and then it rained again, much to my dismay, late in the morning at 0.04, and we're probably gonna end up with another 0.15 out of the sky today. Not too much sunshine. And then the cold wind comes in tonight, and the snow guns are all coming back on. J Cloud, yes, just an inch or two of snow at J Peak Resort today, but at least the mountains are going to be white. And then probably, I would have to call it, average of about 3 to 5 inches above 1,000 feet in much of central and northern New England with that Wednesday system. And then a hard freeze for everybody with more potential wintry weather headed towards Thanksgiving with record cold, maybe not in Boston, but there will be headlines all over the place for a record warm in Alaska and record cold in the United States. We have a wayward sort of polar vortex coming right at the Great Lakes in 8 to 10 days. There'll probably be a dramatic warm-up on the backside of that. Go back to Brian's tweet where he shows it's back to 20 below zero in Fairbanks on Thanksgiving, and that's probably when the pattern's going to turn warmer again here just after Thanksgiving with the snow returning to the west. So hope you enjoyed all that. Stop by to say I know an old friend who's up in heaven yesterday on my way back from Logan Airport with a tremendous sky when the sun came out yesterday. Where were you? I was in Quincy, looking in the same general direction we're looking at right this minute. Oh, I wanted to add one more thing. I watched the sailor who owns this boat come out yesterday in his rowboat, and then he went back in a very rough chop, and I went down the beach and I introduced myself. That is Leif Thornton, and he is taking the boat out of the water today, so it's the last day for the green sailboat. He says it'll be back in on April 15th, and Lord willing, within 5 years, he wants to cross the Atlantic Ocean, and he's looking for a crew on that in about 5 years. If anyone's interested in that, DM me. Where were you when the last downpour from the remnant of Nicole went by? Boston? I was just dropping off at the airport and decided to stop by, say hello to an old friend up in the sky. Never boring, is it, Dawn? Some people playing down on the beach. Blue sky beauty, starting to cool off though. I think the dew point is down from around 70 into the 40s. Technically what's happening is cold air advection up in the sky. Mount Washington started in the 50s, now down to freezing. And I met Leif, who owns that boat right there. It's coming out. I guess we're watching this on Sunday. This is a Saturday afternoon. We did manage 76 degrees at Logan Airport today anyway. At least tying the record for November 12th, set in 1909. Here comes winter. You see it? Way over there. Sun's going down, temperature's going down, but we did almost hit 80 in spots today. And the dog park is packed. T-Rex, making friends. Perfect size. Great day. Might not have another one like this again until 2023. We'll see. Sun just went down. Yeah. Feels late early now, doesn't it?